Hello everyone, I'm Babli Jonathan and this is the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television live from my headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. In our top stories in this edition of the news, the Citizens Coalition for Cameroon calls for the liberation of all political prisoners in the Republic of Cameroon. The coalition of several civil society organizations met today here in the economic capital, Douala, and have announced a series of actions that will be taken in the days ahead to compel the government of the Republic of Cameroon to liberate the national president of the CRM political party, Professor Maurice Kamto, other political leaders and militants being detained, and all those they refer to as political prisoners being detained in different incarceration centers in the Republic of Cameroon. And the coordinator of 11 Millions de Citoyens and presidential candidate of the Universe political party at the October 7, 2018 presidential election, Cabral Lebi, calls for general amnesty as the beginning of the solution to the deepening Anglophone crisis. Thanks, dear televiewers, for joining us on this edition of the news on Equinoxe Television. Today was a ghost town day, as usual, as it is the case every Mondays in Anglophone Cameroon. The streets were deserted, markets as well as shops shut down, activities completely grounded in the two Anglophone regions of the country, and only some few persons could be seen in streets of major towns in the northwest and southwest regions of the country as a result of the lockdown of every Monday imposed by pro-independence fighters in the two Anglophone regions of the country, who have been battling for close to 3 years today to restore the independence of the former southern Cameroons. And activities have been grounded in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, and the two regions just came out of a 10-day lockdown that completely paralyzed activities in those parts of the country, leading to enormous loss in income and, of course, imposing another rhythm of life quite difficult to inhabitants of the two regions as the Anglophone crisis continues deepening further, while the government continues implementing military force, or better still, military repression, to bring the situation under control, and the pro-independence fighters resisting the call of the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, to drop the guns and come out of the bush and be received by the Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Committee. It should be noted that authorities have been promising to take care of them, protect them, and ensure that they are well treated after they must have abandoned the bushes, dropping down their guns, and of course coming to surrender and to be reintegrated into the normal life trend. And over the weekend, a handful of inhabitants of the town of Kumba took to the streets in tight military security to call for peace, and that peace protest was organized by initiative was organized by authorities in the Meme division, led by the senior division officer Tundong Chamberlain, and some few persons could be seen in the streets of Akumba in an atmosphere characterized by tight security. And of course, that event organized by authorities was equally affected by gun battles. Gunshots were heard in the early hours of the morning of Saturday in the southwest regional town, the southwest town of Kumba, which is one of the heartbeats of the Anglophone crisis. And of course, these persons took to the streets carrying bearing messages calling for peace, calling for an end to violence, calling for an end to the killings, the torture, the abductions, and the destruction of properties that have been going on in the two Anglophone regions of the country for close to 3 years today. Here now is an extract of the senior division officer of the Meme division, Tundong Chamberlain. Take a listen.
Congratulate you, but all of you, you are patriotic. Enough is enough. We need school, no future. Let me say that from today, like the father of the division, I am once more aware that I have not learned to fight against those boys who are disturbing peace in this division. The forces of law and order, you know, they cannot succeed without your own support. That is why I am very happy to see all of you in front of me, all the youth who are now ready to give their full hand to the forces of law and order. I will relay all your worries.
And the first vice president of the Social Democratic Front SDF political party, Honorable O.C. Joshua, has once again accused the president of the Republic, Paul Biya, for the deepening situation in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. And speaking yesterday on Equinoxe television within the context of the program Verity and Fast, Honorable O.C. Joshua indicated that war is not the solution and has never been a solution to any problem. He also called for the liberation of all those who have been detained in connection to the Anglophone crisis. And of course, Professor Maurice Kamto, leader of the CRM political party, other leaders of that party and militants, he was speaking to us yesterday. And Innocent as they captured some of his statements and compiled them in this report.
Honorable C. Joshua, first Vice President of the Social Democratic Front and the party's October 7, 2018 presidential election candidates, on the night program Verity and Fast on Equinoxe television, began by defining the common concept Anglophone problem his own way.
There is nothing like an Anglophone problem. There is a problem of marginalization of cultural minority in this country that joined a union to be one and the same. That is the problem we have. So it's a Cameroonian problem.
President Paul Biya, whom according to him declared a senseless war on his own population, is the reason why dialogue proposed to end the conflict has never seen daylight.
The role of the government is not to make us flee away. Today we have 600,000 internally displaced inside Cameroon. We have hundreds of thousands of refugees. That is not the role of government. The role of the government is to protect us. The role of the government is to put us in a situation of security and of safety.
The SDF first vice president knows that a government has no right to declare war on its population, no matter how extremist they go. He thus condemns killings for political gains, adding that positive strategies be adopted to end the war, not violence.
He declares war against people who legitimately, maybe not legally, but legitimately feel, and I bear with them, that they are marginalized. And he doesn't even address the issue. He doesn't even dare to go into the southwest and the northwest. He sits back in his office from time to time, and most of the time he's in his village, and he makes us believe that he can solve a problem using the army.
President Paul Biya's policy to him has inflamed the nation today, and only the SDF federalism ideology adopted on May 26, 1990 can quench that flame for sustainable peace.
We fundamentally believe that if people do not control, do not self-determine their own future, nobody can do it better for them. And not that somebody is sitting in Yaoundé decides on the fate of a good future here and a bad future there. The result of that position is that we have a civil war in Cameroon today.
Still on the program, he sends a signal transmitting to the hierarchy messages to liberate all political prisoners detained, notably those in connection with the Anglophone crisis and the CRM peaceful protest.
We feel it is profoundly unjust today for people to be locked up by virtue of their opinion. And that's why we have Anglophone leaders in prison who have to be liberated. We have innocent Anglophone citizens all locked up. I do not invest my energy, time, and everything I have because something is necessarily feasible. I am saying that I am ready to die to make sure that my children do not go to prison by virtue of their opinion. And all those who are locked up today by virtue of their opinion have to be liberated, and we have to fight for that to happen.
Regarding Cameroon's chaotic political atmosphere, Honorable C. Joshua believes there is a fundamental breakdown in Cameroon's political system that needs to be seriously repaired.
And another political figure, coordinator or national coordinator of the 11 Millions de Citoyens movement, civil society movement. He was presidential candidate of the Universe Political Party at the October 7, 2018 presidential election. I'm talking about Cabral Libi. He has also called for general amnesty as the beginning of the solution to the Anglophone crisis. In other words, he has urged the authorities of the Republic of Cameroon to liberate all those incarcerated in connection to the Anglophone crisis. He was speaking during a tour of the Bambutus division in the west region of the country, and he met with some militant supporters and sympathizers of the Universe Political Party and, of course, followers of the 11 Millions de Citoyens movement. He talked to them about current issues happening in the country, and as far as the Anglophone crisis is concerned, he said that there is need for a dialogue to be initiated by the authorities in order to discuss the way, indicating that such incidents or such crises have affected other parts of the world, and they were all solved by dialogue. Reason why dialogue should be initiated to solve the Anglophone crisis. And here in the economic capital, Douala, some civil society organizations met today to discuss the recent happenings in the Republic of Cameroon, notably the arrest of political leaders and, of course, militants, notably those of the CRM political party and all other persons qualified as political prisoners. The civil society organizations group under the umbrella of the that is the Citizens Coalition for Cameroon, better known by its French acronym CROASIC, met today here in the economic capital Douala and called for the immediate liberation of Professor Maurice Kamto and all the other political prisoners. They consider all the persons who have been arrested and detained either in connection to the protest move organized by the CRM political party in some major towns of the country on the 26th of January 2019, or those in connection to the Anglophone as political prisoners. They are calling for their liberation, and they have announced a series of actions that they will be undertaking in the days ahead to compel the government of Cameroon to hear their call for the liberation of those they qualify as political prisoners. Among the actions, they have indicated that they may be undertaking an international legal action against the government of Cameroon. And joining us in this edition of the news is a member of CROASIC. He is the Secretary General of the Democratic Movement of National Conscience, that is MODECNA. I'm talking about Jones. TAMFU, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Jonathan Bagla, for inviting me here today.
When you look at what has been happening in the Republic of Cameroon with the social climate becoming tense by the day, what's your take on that?
I blame bad governance because, when you fail to solve a problem, the problem may get pregnant and then give birth to other social problems like what we have today, which began in late 2016, like a simple, peaceful manifestation, and was not solved by the government in place, and which pushed and radicalized the population until today we have an armed movement. So it's all about bad governance.
Bad governance, you're accusing bad governance. What aspect of governance are you talking about as far as the protests and the crisis in the northwest region of the country are concerned?
I think Cameroon being a state of law, and it's constitutional law for people to manifest their grievances. So when people go out to manifest their grievances and they are arrested, it is bad governance, because the government in the country is supposed to be the father of the country and is supposed to ensure the security of the population. So, but when the government starts making the population to feel insecure in her own country, then it means there is a problem. And the government being the father of a country, is called to listen to all the children. And if anything goes wrong in that country, the government is accused. Because in every family, when things are not moving, it means that the father has failed in one way or the other.
What is not moving?
As
As far as the Cameroonian family is concerned.
What is not moving is that you cannot have a problem and then you voice it out. When you voice it out, it becomes a problem. And we have seen this manifested bigly twice. When the Anglophones got out with peace plans and they were being tempted, terrorists, muted, beaten, killed, and locked up, as some are still in prison today, that we were calling that they should be released immediately. It's a big problem. And when we also see when the president of MRC, Professor Maurice Kamto, also went for a peaceful march to the street with his followers and was also given names and then locked up arbitrarily.
They were given names.
Yes.
What do you mean by they were given names?
He was given
the charges leveled against
the
them?
charges leveled against them was not real, because normally a political party, when you have a manifestation to make, you don't apply for the manifestation to be made. You declare that on this day I am going to manifest from from this point to this point at this time of the day. It is the right of the government to now send the forces of law and order to guide the manifestation and ensure the safety of the manifestant. Like what I saw just happen in Kumba. When they came out to manifest, we saw military vehicles and the military all around to make sure that nothing happens to the people manifesting. Why should it be the other way around when it is the manifestation against the government? It means that the manifestation that was well guided by the military in Kumba is suspicious. It's suspicious. We don't even know if it is. We're tempted to say it was not real. If it was real, why is it that the government has not taken such measures in other manifestations?
Are you accusing the government of discriminating in the implementation of legal dispositions?
I don't say discrimination, because the government is not supposed to discriminate. It is intentional.
All right. Now, your organization, the that is Kwasik, and of course the Democratic Movement of National Conscience, which you're the Secretary General, announcing a series of actions in the days ahead.
Yes, we met today. There were a series of things we had to brainstorm on. We were brainstorming on the release of all political prisoners, especially those of the Northwest, including the North and Southwest crisis, and those who were arrested in the 28th of January 2019, those of the MRC, that's Maurice Kamto and co. So we were calling for their immediate liberation, and we are also calling for the government to end the war in the Northwest and the Southwest. For war is never a solution to a problem. They should listen to the children of the Northwest, hear their cry, solve their problem. The problem is not above solution. This problem will have been solved ere long if the government was really serious with what she is doing. And then we also call for the creation of a consensual electoral code for future elections. And we were able to handle only the first point today, which is the immediate release of the war prisoners, those of the involved in the war in the Southwest and Northwest. I mean, political prisoners, those involved in the wars in the Northwest and Southwest, and those Professor Maurice Kamto and co. So,
all right, Jones, TAMFU Secretary General of Modegna and member of Kwasik, thanks for coming.
Thank you very much, Babili Jonathan. It's my pleasure.
On to something else now. The First Lady of the Republic of Cameroon, Chantal Biya, is accused of manipulating the functioning of the state from the background. This is contained in a report published in the Pan-African magazine, Jeune Afrique. For me, Armstrong Sander.
This is the publication of Jeune Afrique magazine on First Lady Madame Chantal Biya that has pushed Biya regime supporters on the defensive. Jeune Afrique's Monday, February 18, 2019 edition published what it claims an investigation demonstrating how First Lady Chantal Biya influences governance in Cameroon in the shadow of her husband, President Paul Biya. Jeune Afrique's director, François Soudan, said Madame Chantal Biya controls, among other high offices, the post of Secretary General at the Presidency of the Republic, which is practically that of a Vice President in Cameroon through Ferdinand Gongo. Jeune Afrique further said her husband, Paul Biya, calls her Madame President, even if the title is not provided by the constitution in Cameroon. The Pan-African magazine went further to state that her influence is growing and her mark is increasingly being felt on the management of public affairs in Cameroon. According to the magazine, Chantal Biya has become a real politician who has established herself in the world of the presidency of the Republic of Cameroon, claiming that Chantal Biya controls the positions of the Director of Civil Cabinet at the presidency and that of Secretary General at the presidency of the Republic of Cameroon, currently occupied by Samuel Vondo Oyolo and Ferdinand Gongo, respectively. The article in its last paragraph claimed that the growing influence of Chantal Biya has also fueled a clan dispute between people from his mother's native East region and Bulus from President Biya's South region. Though the government has not officially reacted to this article from Jeune Afrique, some Cameroonian-based newspapers had their say on the issue. Essential newspaper questioned who is after Chantal Biya. Le Pelican presented what they called destabilization of Cameroon, the lies of Jeune Afrique on Chantal Biya. Le Messager newspaper only questioned if Chantal Biya is the next president after Paul Biya.
For me, Armstrong Sanda reporting there, it should be indicated that some newspapers, notably those published in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, have dismissed the allegations made in the article published in Jeune Afrique, the Pan-African magazine, as pure lies and an attack on the personality of the First Lady Chantal Biya and, of course, the President of the Republic, Paul Biya. An official reaction is yet awaited, and this is where we're going to end this edition of the news on Equinoxe Television. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. Goodbye.